Emergence of eggshells. Eggs can be divided into three general categories based on the physical properties of the eggshell: soft, flexible, or rigid. Eggshell rigidity is determined by the proportion of inorganic to organic matter. A soft and flexible eggshell contains more organic matter than the calcareous crystalline material. Conversely, rigid eggshell has more calcium carbonate, calcite, or aragonite than organic matter incorporated into its structure. Animals have been laying eggs for millions of years. Most fish and amphibians lay soft eggs composed of an organic framework and poorly organized calcite crystals. Though the eggs of some species can be fertilized and developed internally, the most common reproductive strategy is known as oviparity, in which the female lays underdeveloped eggs that are externally fertilized by a male. Typically, large numbers of eggs are laid at one time and are then left to develop without parental care. These eggs do not have a shell and would dry out in the air. Therefore, even air-breathing amphibians lay their eggs in the water or in protective foam, as with the coast foam nest tree frog. Amniotic eggs, however, differ from such soft eggs in that they have shells to help prevent drying and a series of membranes that surround the developing embryo. Amnioites are a group of tetrapod vertebrates that include all present-day reptiles, birds, and mammals. They evolved about 340 million years ago during the Carboniferous period from a group of lizard-like amphibians called the amphibian reptilomorphs. Perhaps seeing mammals on this list is surprising, since most mammals do not lay eggs today. But the earliest mammals did lay eggs, and a few of them, such as the monotremes, still do. Like amphibians, the first amniotes are air-breathing vertebrates. Invertebrate and non-amniote vertebrate animals had been laying eggs for millions of years prior to the Carboniferous, but the amniotes did things differently. For one thing, they reproduce through internal fertilization and lack a larval stage in their development. But what really sets amniotes apart is their semi-permeable egg, which has a mineralized shell to protect the embryo from damage and desiccation while still permitting gas transfer. When eggs are laid in the water, the embryos are able to get oxygen and remove waste by diffusion. Yet, when simple diffusion is far from being enough, amniotic eggs have evolved some distinct features which further allow them to adapt to the non-aquatic environment. There are many tiny pores in the shell for oxygen to pass through, so that the embryo doesn't suffocate. Inside the shell are 4 sacs. The first sac inside the shell is the chorion, which carries oxygen from the shell to the embryo and waste carbon dioxide from the embryo to the shell. Within the chorion is the amnion, the membrane for which the amniotic egg is named. The amnion keeps the embryo from drying out, an equipment critical to living on land. A third sac, the allantois, stores waste from the embryo, and also fuses with the chorion to form the choriolontoic membrane, which carries oxygen and carbon dioxide to and from the embryo, just like a lung. A fourth membrane, the yolk sac, holds and digests nutritious yolk for the developing embryo. Together, the shell and membranes create a safe watery environment in which an embryo can develop from a few cells to an animal. The development of the amniotic egg is a significant milestone in the evolutionary history of the vertebrates because it freed them from the necessity of laying eggs in the water, and hence opened the door to new habitats. They could become fully terrestrial and exploit all terrestrial niches. Although amphibians are both vertebrates and tetrapods, they are not amniotes, which means they do not lay amniotic eggs, and are, to this day, bound to aquatic habitats for reproduction. Their eggs dry out and die if they are not laid in moist environments. As a result, amniotic eggs finally enabled the vertebrates that possess them to become the most dominant land vertebrates alive today.